there's no sort of synthesis happening, like the synthesizing of ideas. Like usually when you like write and research about something, you will tend to put together different opinions and different perspectives and different things you found on the internet, and you sort of put it together yourself. So you
I
went to a
think,
person instead of an AI.
yeah, I actually went to I actually
Yeah.
went to person to ask, and they were super helpful, I think, and like they basically told me stuff that I couldn't even be able to find because it was in their head. So
We kind of just wanted to meet and I guess talk about our thoughts and reflections on No AI December. And yeah, for those who don't know us, my name is I'm James Bedford, one of the co-founders of No AI December, and Sandra is here as well, also one of the co-founders. And maybe do you want to perhaps just maybe start off telling us a bit about like how it came about and how sort of yeah what inspired it first off, like the idea of No AI December. Do you want to talk a bit to that?
yeah, for sure. Like I would like to welcome everybody listening to this. Um, yeah, I think it started partially as a joke. I'm not really sure like why, but the idea was like, what if we take a challenge or like I know that there was many challenges through the year, but uh, I've noticed that the AI is pretty hyped up, and I was using it
Mm.
a lot. Like I started to be a heavy user of the AI in like 2023, mostly for working. And I started noticing that, okay, I'm pretty dependent on it. I really like the speed of it. I moved so fast, but like there was a need for me to like, okay, we need to stop for a bit and um, like I wouldn't call it like a need for a reflections like that came after it, but I wanted a little break to like see if I'm capable or if I know my stuff enough
Mm.
because I knew that I can drive with AI like pretty fast, but
So what sort of things were you using AI for before you had the break?
yeah, it was mostly coding.
Mm.
I'm a software engineer, so I like use it like 95% for that, and like the usual stuff. Like you want to get things done fast, and you want to move to the next thing and to the next thing, and like have a bigger output. But I feel I felt like there is something missing. Like I couldn't really remember like a lot of details I've done. Like
Yes.
looking into the past, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that was the trigger, I think, for the No AI December. Like that was the okay. I think there is something there.
Totally. I think and yeah, I mean I found the same. Like I'm not sure if people are aware. Like I work in education as a sort of education specialist in AI. So I work a lot with teachers and students and helping them, I guess, make sense of these tools for learning and education. But yeah, I've heard that a lot. Like people will use generative AI technology for whatever reason. It might be like grading or writing reports or doing research or whatever. And a lot of people are reporting that it's like when they use it, they're not really recalling the things that ChatGPT told them, and I mean it makes sense because there's no and this is something that I guess I'll talk more to from my experience of not doing AI for the month of December. There's no sort of synthesis happening, like the synthesizing of ideas. Like usually when you like write and research about something, you will tend to put together different opinions and different perspectives and different things you found on the internet, and you sort of put it together yourself. Like you do a standard, like before ChatGPT, you'd do a standard Google search, you'd look at a few links, you'd read some websites, and then you kind of there was no ChatGPT to compile all that for you. So you'd have to kind of write and put those ideas together yourself. And it was in the putting those ideas together yourself that I guess almost created like a really strong connection that you could draw on later on, right? Whereas now, and I'm noticing this a lot in my own work, when I'm using AI to speed up processes, which is super exciting and makes me feel really productive, it's almost, well, it's not even almost. I'm fairly confident that I'm not able to recall the things that I was using it for. It's almost like, have you ever seen that movie Click? Do you remember? I don't know if you've seen the movie Click with Adam
Yep.
Sandler. He's got like that
Yeah.
remote, and when he presses the remote to like pause his life or fast forward his life or whatever, he realizes that he's kind of just on autopilot and nothing's really going in. And that's how I feel when I sometimes use AI tools. It's like I'm doing all these awesome things with it, but then the retention isn't there. And that was, I guess, like, does that resonate with you? Have, like, coming back from No AI December, like what have you noticed? Like, have you gone back to using AI? Do you find you're using it less or you're using it more purposefully? Like, what's your experience been like coming back from not using it?
Yeah, I can sign everything you said. 100%. I can relate to the like not recalling a lot of things that comes out of it. But like because on the 1st of December I've canceled all the subscriptions for the all the AI tools, and I reactivated one yesterday. But we can also like talk about like why and what I'm going to do with it. But basically, when it comes to learning and acquiring new knowledge, I pretty much try to stay away from it for now at least. And I have this like before this call, I've got this good analogy, I think, for what is it to like using AI. And I think like it's like when you have fast car and somebody will tell you because when you try to learn stuff, you can go really fast, right? So you have this fast car, but you need to go like 40 or 50 miles per hour only with it, which is very annoying, right? So there is this temptation to like go fast because you have all this power, and I think like this sums my experience because when I try to learn something, like there is like you can get answers very quickly, right? And it urges you to move quickly because I can just ask this and ask about this and dive in this rabbit hole, but after a while you will realize that it doesn't really work because just the time spent is like okay I can't really learn about something in 10 minutes even if like ChatGPT or other tools will basically convince you that you can because you have all these answers. But yeah, so I feel like there is this disconnect between moving fast and sinking the knowledge in, and I'm trying to figure it out like what's the best way or structure for me to like use it for the learning, but I can't really say that I've got the solution or recipe to like move quickly in terms of learning, but still like recalling all the facts and information I care about. So I think this sums my like learning experience with it. And
that's a good analogy. Like having the car, because sometimes you want to like it's a sort of average metaphor, but you sometimes want to slow down and take in the sights, right? And like cruise along and just take things in a bit more. And there's other times where you want to speed along the freeway and go as fast as you can, but we don't speed, constantly wherever we go. But there is that temptation to do that with AI because, like, one of the things I've found, I don't know if I have a word to describe it, but it's like this because I know what's possible with AI tools. It's almost like overwhelming just to sit at my laptop, sometimes because it's now so easy to just make an idea happen or to explore some possibility, like some, little glimmer of an idea that you want to explore or information you want to retrieve or something you want to try to build. Like I'm not a coding person by any means, but I've, gone down the vibe coding route and have like built a lot of my own little, knickknacks that I use just personally. And but yeah, it's like overwhelming, this sense of like there's so much I could do now. I mean, there's even like this I saw recently, it's all over, X and stuff, but like this Ralph Wiggum approach to coding that like it's kind of like this thing that kind of codes and checks itself while you sleep, basically. So you just wake up to like a bunch of solutions to like a product that you're developing. So it's this idea of like this constant pursuit of productivity that can be really overwhelming. And I think for me, not using AI for December, I look forward to it every year. Like the clarity that comes with it and the slowing down. But then I go straight back to using it when I come back to work. Like even like this, I've been back at work the last 2 weeks, and I started off really hyper aware of my reliance on generative AI tools, like just to do like basic things, like coming up with paragraphs or new ideas or um, yeah, just little random things. Um, but I found that like I resisted the urge. Like I've been writing this report on AI usage at the university and how staff are using AI in the day-to-day workplace, which is really interesting. But I've resisted the urge to use AI to help me write the report, because I want to gain those insights myself and kind of make those connections and do some writing, and that's been really nice. But I have to be honest, like I had this moment of like I spent like a couple of hours like writing a few pages, and then I'm like, oh, I'll just see what AI does with this, and it just like absolutely blew it out of the water and did this awesome job and just made it sound so much better. And I know when something sounds better because like I'm a writer, so I spend a lot of time working on my craft, and but it just nailed the report format. It nailed the drawing stats from the survey. It was just incredible, and it's like it's almost to the point now where it's definitely it's meeting the kind of where humans are at, and I think that's quite scary, but also really exciting at the same time. So I kind of I I'm not kind of concerned. I'm more just cautiously optimistic about what that means. And I think, like you were saying, what resonated with me is this. I think we're just learning when to use it and when not to use it, basically. When to kind of get in that Ferrari and drive 110 kilometers down the freeway or whatever, and when to like kind of slow down and cruise along the coastline and take our time taking things in. Um, that's kind of like what I found. But yeah, did you notice anything during the month of not using AI that sort of was surprising to you, or did you have any moments or like surprising moments that in December that you're like, oh wow, I didn't realize how reliant I was, or any insights from just that time of just being away from it?
Yeah, I think one that comes to my mind is that I was looking into some uncharted territory in the terms of my field or field of work. And so usually I would go and ask AI to like give me some hints, or like where should I find like where should I look after the information, like some general outline. And I was forced to join a Discord community and ask like the authors directly, which was super cool, I guess. And
So you
I
went to a
think
person instead of an AI.
yeah, I actually went to
Yeah.
went to person to ask, and they were super helpful, I think. And like they basically told me stuff that I couldn't even be able to find because it was in their head. So
So
uh,
interesting. That the exact same like thing happened to me.
yeah.
I realized I can't call AI, so I've got to call people. And I ended up I was doing some data analysis from some surveys, and I've kind of done that before, but I'm not like an expert in it. So I wanted to sort of pick my friend's brain, who is like a professional data analyst, and I gave him a call, and it was fantastic. Like the conversation we had was so helpful. I mean, I don't want to say I couldn't have got that from ChatGPT. Maybe I could have, but it just it didn't feel the same, obviously. And just connecting, reaching out with them was great. Like got to catch up and just all those things that make work fun and interesting. Um, and I thought that was kind of cool. So it made me realize like there are probably times when instead of going to ChatGPT, I could just literally talk to a person. And maybe it takes longer because you've got to wait for the response and find the time that works. But in the end, like, I don't know, sometimes it just feels more energizing to do that.
And I feel like what's good about it is that you make them also like feel important, right? Like the interaction happens like the both ways. So like I'm happy to help somebody, and
Yeah, you'd be
also
surprised. Like who's happy to read, if you just reach out to someone and
yeah,
get
like
help.
but like my Discord experience like was exactly the same. Like I reached out, I asked a bunch of questions, I got pretty like long answers, but with more like the reasoning behind like why the stuff is in that way. And it's all like you could ask probably ChatGPT about it, but like they don't see into the author's mind, so like you would get some extrapolated answers, like some kind of like hypothetical answer that like about the state of the research, let's
Yeah,
say.
that's what I find with ChatGPT responses, or I mean, whatever, insert large language model here. But I find it is quite samey in its responses. You'll often, if you continuously research the same ideas, you'll start to see patterns of like the sort of like a handful of ideas that continually are circulating and that are quite generic. I mean, that could just be prompting and improving that, and you get better results. But it's never as nuanced or as even flawed, like as a human response, which sometimes can be just as charming. I was thinking actually about this. I've got some thoughts on it myself, but I'm interested to hear your thoughts. Like, so this is our second time doing No AI December, right? We did it, back in 24, and then again, 2025. Did you notice anything, like any differences between the first time you did it and the second time? Like anything that stood out to you?
I think the biggest difference is my like approach to it, I would say. Like first time I didn't really know like what to expect. This year I was like, okay, I will approach it in the way that I will like try to avoid any AI at all and be more about like taking the information in and basically chewing it up, right? Like if you eat, because the ChatGPT will like as you said, like it will synthesize for you, and it will just go straight into your brain and basically out. So you can just use the information and throw it out. So my approach was a bit different in this regard. I try to be more more active when it comes to like researching information and like synthesizing it. And I think I was more successful this year when it like in terms of like being more mindful about it. I would say like both years I didn't use like any tools at all, but this year I really enjoyed the distance between the hype and all the like fear of missing out. Like you need to use that. You need like I was like, hold on, like I'm fine. I'm really fine.
Yeah. So honestly, I had the similar experience actually to that. The first time I didn't use AI for the month of December, I did get a lot of FOMO because that month I remember in 2024, like, I think it was it ChatGPT 4 was announced, or there was some big announcement that happened in that month. There were a few tools coming out, and I had such FOMO that I wasn't able to use those tools and to see what they could do, because I'd been kind of almost addicted to testing the latest tools and seeing what they could do, and seeing the little improvements in benchmarks and things. But this time around, I did not care. Like when ChatGPT 5.2 came out or whatever, or there were all these announcements. I had no FOMO whatsoever. I'm like, yeah, cool. I'll get to that. When I get to that, I'll test it out when I get back to work or whatever. There was that sort of hype had sort of died down. And I don't know if that's something that's happening like on a global scale where people are a little bit over this hype cycle, because it feels like we're sort of in this, and you don't notice it until you step away from it, but we're in this kind of hype cycle where a tool is released, a model is released, we see the benchmarks, which I mean, I never know what they mean. Like you see like these vending machine tests that they do, and like you look at the LM Arena, and apparently it's 10% better at math or whatever, and it's like I'm sure they gamify these bots before they release them to like meet those benchmarks. So who knows what those benchmarks mean? And then everyone gets really excited because it beat all these tests, and it's 10% better than this other model, and then a few months later another model's released, and we go through that process again of like, oh, look at all these improvements, and it's just constant. Like, and I was sitting there thinking like, when is this going to end? It sort of reminds me of the iPhone hype cycle, where every year a new iPhone will come out, and for a while the leaps between those products were massive, and like you would want the next iPhone because all of a sudden like the camera was HD, or it could do this, or the advancements felt like quite big. But now it's like I don't even know what iPhone we're up to. I don't even care. Like I've still got my 13 or 12 or something, and I couldn't care less about the latest update. So I feel like we're converging on a similar point with these AI tools, where it's like, great, you've got the latest, ChatGPT 6. What now? Like, cool. And I think the incremental improvements are getting less and less. They're just like, they're getting better, but only slightly. So that was some of the thoughts I had around just not using it and not feeling like I was missing out. It was kind of nice, just sitting back and watching people freak out about.
I have one note to this, and I think I started more caring about my knowledge, and stop caring about the productivity gains, because at the end of the day, like, who am I like doing it for, right? Like, what's the point of producing like tons of stuff if I couldn't really like grasp the meanings of it, or the knowledge out of it? Like, you can build like this is one issue I'm having with like people pride themselves that they can code stuff without understanding it. Like, what's the point of that? Like, I guess like you can get the outputs that are useful for you. Like that's perfect. But when you are like into computers, like, learn the damn computers. Like, don't try to be like the like, basically you have this box that you are like poking from outside, and you don't want to like get into the box and learn the stuff inside. So this is something I'm a little bit worried that people will not be able to like go deeper maybe into the topics they are interested in, because why would they, when they can just ask questions and like have this sense of understanding without understanding. And like, this is something maybe you can talk more about like in the school settings, because when I was ending my university, the ChatGPT was released. So
you're on the tail end of it, just as
I was on the tail, and I didn't really have a chance to use it in the school setting. But I can see that it can be like very tempting, and also I can see the potential of using it for education. But like, coming at the beginning of our discussion, like, okay, you have this fast car. Are you willing to drive it slowly? That's the question. If it's even possible to have it all, basically, to have it all.
Yeah, I mean, maybe stretching this car metaphor as far as I can go. So apologies, but like a car can be a weapon as well. Like, you can drive into a crowd of people with a car and do a lot of damage. It doesn't necessarily mean the technology is itself, is inherently evil. But I think when it comes to AI, like for education, um, I feel like it's really hard for me to imagine what it's like for students who are coming into this world where AI is just a thing and that's all I know. Whereas for me, I see the benefits in using it for learning. It's an incredible tutor, because I've developed those foundational skills myself, and the ability to question things and think critically, and vet information and not just take things at face value. Like those sorts of skills I've refined like for many years, and it was everything that I was taught in university has helped me just look at information differently. And I just wonder if the dangers there of students falling into the trap of trusting everything it says and relying on everything it says. I mean, I have heard a lot of the students that are saying that they see AI as um, like it gives them the ick, they say, or it's something that they're not really. I don't know if that's even the correct use of that word, so I'm showing my age, but they're they're seeing it as a bit cringy. Some students, but look, the potential for learning with an AI, it can be off the charts, like it can be incredible, but it should never take you out of the experience of connecting with another human being and like learning from them. Like we found with reaching out to people and developing those relationships and just talking to others and getting their perspectives, that was such a richer experience than just going to a chatbot. But there would be times where going to a chatbot would suffice and you could get what you need from it and it would be great. But I think what we're learning is we don't want to replace the human in the loop, and I hate using that phrase because it's like, what does that even mean? But I don't think we want to sort of push humans away more and use AI more. I think it needs to be a balance of finding when an AI tool is good to go and source and when it's better to go to a human. So I often think, yeah, I empathize with students because like it's so easy to get it to write a really solid essay. But I mean, yeah, so I think the potential for learning is there. Obviously, the potential for using it for bad is there as well, and students can just offload everything and learn nothing. But anyways, let's change tune slightly. I wanted to hear your thoughts on this because you briefly mentioned it before, but I think we could go a bit deeper with it. So you were talking about how AI sort of changed, like how not using AI has now changed how you use AI. So in what ways has AI changed the way you use it? In the way you prompt or in the way you question it? Like how has avoiding it for the month changed the way you've come back to it?
Okay, there is a lot of things to unpack, but I would give you like practical example because so basically I started with a project that I wanted to do, and I created like 80% of what I wanted with an AI really really quickly, and then I spent like 2 months understanding it like from the basically from the end to the start, like what the hell happened because I read all the code generated. I reviewed it. I was okay with it, but after like month, like I was like I've never seen this before. So basically, I created a lot of useful code with it, but like for who? And it was for me to read.
Hmm.
So I decided to rebuild the product entirely from scratch but writing it myself, and I see right now that like how useful the property of like remembering is when it comes to like moving forward. And like somebody can tell me, oh, like, but you could do it better when if you were to document your way into it, or I don't know, like, but still you need to like it needs to like it's basically like with writing, right? Like if you write something with your hand on the paper, like there is multiple connections.
Mm-hmm.
There is also this fun fact, like if you are going to like if you like I watch a lot of movies past like in the two past years,
Hmm.
and I couldn't really remember a lot of them. Like that's really strange. But I can remember when I was in the cinema, like looking at the movies, And
Yeah.
I read something about like there is smells that you need to like go in there. Like there is a lot of connections to the movie itself. And I
It's kind of
really
like
like start.
online education, online learning versus
Yeah,
in-person learning
exactly.
a
Like
little bit.
there is people you can bump into. Like there is this like unrelated stuff that create this
Hmm.
like or there is a lot of unrelated things that happens like
Mm.
during the thing that you care about that will like cement the experience into your brain, and it will be related. You can then recall it because of all this other unrelated stuff. So that's something I really felt like need, or I started to feel a need for this like multi experience. So the thing that you are writing the code, the thing that you are thinking about it, like it all creates this, like it all creates the knowledge of the like in the process basically.
Mm.
So, like this is the breaking point for me. Like, okay, I generated a lot of stuff, but I can't really build upon of it until I understand it. So, but to understand it, I need to basically rewrite it or read it multiple times. And I have to say, like, it's very hard to read somebody else code and understand
Mm.
it and internalize it, right?
Hmm.
As it was yours. So
Hmm.
that was like it's not really eye opener. Like I know, like I worked with a lot of people before, and I know that if I'm reviewing somebody else's code, like I need to like look it from their perspective basically,
Hmm.
and try to reason about like, okay, is this a good change? Is this bad change? You can also like ask the person like why they decided to do it this way. But when it comes to like being productive and really being knowledgeable about the stuff you are doing, like I don't really think like there are that many shortcuts you can take. Because at the end of the day, like you will want to build something upon the foundation that the AI or other people are building. And
Mm.
if you want to really know your stuff, like you need to like it needs to go to through your hands, through your brain, through your
I,
eyes.
I like that phrase. Yeah, that's a really good way of putting it. And it's I guess to kind of tie it up, it's sort of I'm finding my uses of AI have changed a lot. Definitely more purposeful and more thoughtful because I'm a huge proponent for using AI in my job, and I think it's a fantastic opportunity that the world is presented with. It's a miracle in itself that we have access to this thing that we call generative AI, and flaws and all. I think it still adds a lot of value to our experience as humans on this planet. But I'm also realizing the times where it takes away my humanity and where I feel like, which might sound like an extreme statement, but I really sort of I feel passionate about the work that I do and I want it to mean something. And sometimes when I use AI, it doesn't feel that way. It feels like I'm switching off and just approving AI generated garbage, and that's not what I want to do on my day to day. So I'm learning to find ways of using it well. And I think that's been my biggest takeaway is just coming back into it, into my, into January and just sort of sitting at my desk and just deciding when I'm going to kind of venture off and using it for something, and then when I'm going to do that thing myself. Um, and I think that's where we're all sort of at is just learning where that line is drawn. Um,
Like
mm,
one question into this like for the discussion, like when we where you draw the line between like, okay, I want to improve myself but also I want to like get stuff done,
mm,
because I'm thinking more about it in terms of like building, like we are working on like we have day job or we are working on projects or whatever. We want to like build we want to see the results of that, but we also want to build ourselves like gain new
mm,
knowledge, gain new skills. And maybe the gym analogy can be fine. Like you can't really go into the gym and expect to be like ripped without all the like manuals, basically manual work that is not really meaningful, right? Like lifting weights, it's not really meaningful in itself, but it will build you, like you will build this incredible strength, you will build bigger muscles, you will feel
Yeah.
better about yourself, but you won't get the results like very quickly, and you still need to like do it. Like, there will be no pills to get like a six pack or something like that.
Yeah. I think
And yeah.
Sorry, yeah. Did you want to
So
finish that?
so the question is
Mm.
so the question is like, can you get like all of it? Basically, like, can you be a knowledgeable person? Can you feel more smart or be more wise? Whatever your like perspective on this is, like without all these like manual, basically sometimes meaningless like tasks. Like as you said, like you needed to write a report to get something done. Like, can you get rid of the boring stuff and still come ahead as a like the muscular like with the muscles basically, but in your
Yeah,
brain.
yeah.
I'm really having trouble to like articulate it, but the idea
No,
is,
I'm
but you get the
totally
idea,
on the
right?
same page. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's some great yeah, Ted Chiang, who's like a sci-fi author, talked about AI being like it's the equivalent of taking a bulldozer to the gym to like lift the weights for you. So it's like a pretty basic analogy, but I think it's a really powerful one. Look, I think there are parts of my job that I don't need to do myself, and it would be stupid for me to do them myself. Where I don't need to learn how to do that thing because it's mundane and unnecessary. And I'm learning to kind of find out what those things are. And there are parts of my work that require my humanity and require like my voice and you know, if an email, for example, I will never use AI to write an email to someone because I for me personally, I think that that exchange, you know, is it needs to be personable. It needs to have my signature, you know, who I am goes into that communication. Um, and I sort of see value in that. And I think it's the same for some of the things that I write and produce. Like I'll never generate a LinkedIn post because I just think I mean, it's great. If some people do that's fine. But for me personally, as a writer, I find it a bit disingenuous. But there are all sorts of arguments for using AI, like and using it as a LinkedIn post, and you know, there's some great minds out there that will argue that you know that there's nothing wrong with that, and to some extent, I agree with them. But I think it's just learning. I noticed when I was using AI when it was pulling me away from like what felt purposeful and meaningful to me in my day to day life, and it was almost like a slipping into a trance of just autopilot where I'm going 1,000 miles an hour. I'm getting a million things done, but I'm not picking anything up along the way. I'm not remembering the places I went or the sites I saw or the people I bumped into. You know, I've had days like that with AI where I've achieved so much but have learned nothing. And that's no way to live. That's no way to do work for me personally. Um, Others might disagree and might love that feeling. And there's definitely benefits and advantages to it. But I think I think it's like for me, No AI December, it's all about learning how to use AI and still retain your intelligence and your humanity and you know, your criticality. That's what it kind of revealed to me. And there's still some big questions. I don't have all the answers. Like, how do we use AI well? You know, that's the big question. Um, but yeah, maybe we'll wrap up. Are there any final thoughts or things you wanted to add? Perhaps like for those thinking about trying No AI December, like would you recommend it? Like, yeah, did you want to maybe respond to
Yeah,
that?
sure.
Just
Like for sure, like you should try it. Like you can you can do your no AI month like any time in the year if you want to try it. The no AI December is here for like for basically for the community feeling, I would say. Like you are not alone in this, and you shouldn't feel the pressure of the hype or the fear of missing out like during the December. Also, this December is I think the best month in the year in terms of like lower stress levels
yeah,
in case you've got your presents and you shouldn't feel like it shouldn't be very, I would say, alien concept to like try it. Like it's very simple in the terms of like, okay, I'm just not going to engage with the AI tools this month.
Yeah, like don't
And
overcomplicate it. Like a lot of people will say,
yeah, like
there's AIs and everything, but you know what we mean.
yeah,
Like we're talking
yeah,
about generative AI tools and things that you use
exactly.
to outsource things. So yeah.
So exactly. So there is no, and there shouldn't be any like there shouldn't be a dilemma in the no AI assembly. Like you should do it for yourself. Like it shouldn't be like, oh, should I do it or should I not? Like if you want to try it, like just give it a go. You will see. I think like after 1 week you will see some results immediately. So if you are like heavy AI user, of course, and it's up to you if you want to continue or not. And I would say giving up 1 month and also the good part about the December is that it's end of the year, so you will have more time to like absorb and reflect on the entire year.
Yeah,
So
the year that was.
it just like there is so many cool like little things that like come together in the end of the year, and I think the November December is like giving it like it's like a sprinkle on the top. Like you will also like enjoy the month without all this like constant like, oh, you need to try this, you need to try that, you need to do more. So that's my 2 cents on the December.
I totally agree. Like, I mean, it started off as a bit of a joke, no AI December, and we made it happen, and I think it's I look forward to it every year. Yeah, like you said, you don't have to do it. You don't have to wait till December. If you're a heavy user, definitely try it. It's worth doing. I've done it twice now, and I know I can testify to that, and as can you. So yeah, give it a go. Even a couple of days without a week try. Just see what the differences are. But yeah, well, I think we'll wrap it up. That was really cool. Thanks for sharing your thoughts on that. No AI December, and I look forward to seeing what happens this year with the next one, and seeing all the awesome insights that we'll gain from that. So thanks for coming and sharing those thoughts, and I guess we'll end there.
Thank you for making this happen, and we will see like what the 2026 will have for us.
All right, I'll see you guys.